Okay, guys, welcome back. So we're looking at this new assignment for today. This is real world Pythagorean theorem problems. Okay, and the thing about these guys is that they're going to give you a description of something, but they're not going to give you a picture. So you're going to draw a picture. That's the expectation, that you're going to draw a picture. In this first one, it says there's a width of a sheet of paper. What form is a sheet of paper in? A rectangle. So we're going to draw a rectangle. The paper is 6 centimeters by 8 centimeters. 6 is the shorter side, 8 is the longer side. And what is the length of the diagonal? Remember, this guy is the diagonal. And let's go ahead and write the word diagonal. If I'm writing, what? If I'm writing, you're writing. So do you see that if we need the length of this diagonal, I can use Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to put in my right angle, draw an arrow across. What side is the diagonal? A, B, or C? C. What do we know about C? It's the longest, so it has to be longer than what number? 8. Got to be longer than 8. Okay? In order to find it, I'm simply going to use my Pythagorean theorem. 6 squared plus 8 squared equals C squared. And we can kind of speed things up now that we know what we're doing. I'm going to allow y'all to go a little bit faster, but you need to be able to understand every part of this. The area of this perfect square that's off of 6 squared is off of 6 is going to be 6 squared, so that's 36. Plus, what's 8 squared? 3, 2, 1. 64. What's 64 plus 36? So what does that equal? That equals C squared. That does not equal the length of C. It's always going to be an answer choice. It's not going to take you 100 steps to get back if it took you 6 to get here and 8 to get here. So that's a way to check your knowledge. So I'm going to take the square root of 100, which is what? 10. So the length of the diagonal is 10. C equals 10. The diagonal of a rectangle is 12. Now let's look at this guy. So I've got a rectangle again. But this time, they're giving you the length of the diagonal. What's the length of the diagonal? 12. And the length of this whole thing is 9. What's the width? Here's a question mark. Can I use Pythagorean theorem? Yes, because I've got a right triangle built inside. I draw an arrow across. Now I've got C equals 12, B equals 9, and A is I don't know. So I'm going to use my formula, A squared plus 9 squared equals 12 squared. And instead of adding 9 squared and 12 squared, what am I going to do? I'm going to subtract them. Okay? You do not have permission not to use your calculator. So you can take 12x squared, that's 144. Equals 9 squared. Good, 81. Plus A squared. I'm going to subtract 81 from both sides. And I'm going to get a zero pair. A squared equals 144 minus 81. 63. It doesn't make sense that I would go 12 steps this way, 9 steps this way, and 63 steps back. So you should know at this point I need to take the square root of that 63. Which is going to give me 7.9. 7.93. 7. So the reason I go all the way out to 7.937 is because since it doesn't tell me what to round to, I know that in the 8th grade I have to round to the nearest hundredth that they don't tell you. So I'm going to underline the hundredths, the pennies. 3 is the pennies. Because there's 100 pennies in a dollar. I'm going to circle the 7 afterwards. Is that 7 big enough to change that 3? Yes. So A is actually equal to 7.9 what? Put a box around that. Okay? So let's go ahead and open this up to the first one. You're going to see something similar. Here's how you're going to use your Show My Worksheet. The first one, you're going to find number 1, put your finger on it, and you're going to write number 1 in the first top left-hand box. And you're going to illustrate on here what number 1 is. What's the shape in number 1? Draw your rectangle. Make it nice and neat. The length of the rectangle is 10 centimeters. The width is 6 centimeters. What is the length of the diagonal? Use your Pythagorean theorem. It's got to be more than 10. What's a reasonable answer for this? What's a reasonable answer for this length? 700. Is that reasonable? 640. 11, 12, 13 would be great. It should fall in somewhere in there. Number 2, let's go over here. A triangle has a hypotenuse of 25. So I'm going to draw my right triangle. The hypotenuse is 25. One leg is 12. What's the length of the other leg? So I'm just going to make one 12. And I don't know this length. Draw in your right triangle. Draw your arrow across. Let's say 12 squared plus b squared equals 25 squared. And solve for b. So you're going to do that all the way down. Front and back of this paper. So you get all the way through the 10 questions. Show your illustrations on the Show My worksheet. Okay, this is due on Thursday. What day? It's due on Thursday. Raise your hand if you have any questions.